Hey everybody. This is going to be who knows, it's probably going to be a pretty intimate little connection tonight. If you noticed, I've been running around and just put the link up and set it all up like 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago max. But hey, we're here. I will be on every week, and I forgot to set up the link and things in advance this week. So for those of you that have appeared, thanks, welcome. I'm going to be a little bit dark, I think, tonight, but hopefully you can see me, hopefully you can hear me, and we can still do whatever shows up and happens. And to be honest, it might be a nice little intimate evening. So hey, how's it going? Nice. Sunny Hamburg. Nice. I love it. Hey James, nice to have you here. Yeah, it's hey Marcus, nice. Aussie, hey team. Nice to be here, nice to be back. I posted a little message on my Patreon page, kind of with what's going on. Life has gotten pretty hectic all of a sudden, for many good reasons. But it means that I'm in the process of doing another move of where I'm living and things. So been racing into a friend's place tonight to jump online and get this going and turn up. So hey everybody, Chomli Karate Do Prien. Hang on, Florian? No, I get confused. I think so. I'm not sure. Trying to remember, everyone's secret code names on here. But yeah, I hope you've all had a really good week. I've been doing a little bit of promo and photography, a photo shoot for a duo with Shimner and I. And if I was fancy, I'd have those photos appear on the screen. But tonight we're simple as. Yeah, look, love to hear what everyone's been up to and what's been happening for the week. If there's been a lot of practice, guitar and vocal wise, or if it's been kind of like me a little bit this week, a bit of admin, shall we say, more than anything. But nice. I was Florian. I for some reason I was sure it was you, but then it seemed different. So that's good. I'm glad my memory is also working. I'm going to share a little. Obviously, as per normal, if you've got questions and things like that, feel free to fire them in the chat, and we'll talk about it and pick apart some different topics. But I'm just going to share to start with something I shared with all of you beautiful people on the Patreon page, and that is a little quote from Per Bristow. I was doing a bunch of vocal work this week, and I just really stopped to write down what he said. For those of you that don't know, he's actually a violin virtuoso and also an incredible singing and athletic coach, and that's kind of some of the background. But you can find out what you'd like to. But here's the quote: was to excel in any physical activity, which is obviously singing, guitar playing, bashing on our guitars to get different sounds. It is very much a mental exercise every time you do something. That is the difference between just doing something for years and years and improving a little, and doing something with some very interesting awareness and this mental attitude, mental mindset, and then you evolve fast. So if you're like me, I definitely would prefer to learn and improve quickly where possible. So yeah, I guess it's like all that's left is, what is this mental attitude and this mental mindset that he's talking about? And in that particular instance, chatting quite a bit about the concept of not judging ourselves for how our voice sounds, which is easier said than done if you've, like me, got a long history of putting pressure on yourself to feel good feel good. Sorry, to sound as good as you can, but in the process, it's the opposite of feeling good. All these muscles engage, and uh, we often don't feel so good. In fact, I got to the point where I would lose my voice at the end of a show, and I was grateful for the days I had off because it meant I could recover, sort of hopefully long enough to do a show and lose my voice, but still be okay to do the next show. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to throw that in there tonight. It's been on my mind, and I'm curious because most of you are guitarists in here, and obviously some of you singers as well. But curious how and where your focus goes when you're practicing. Yeah, it's an interesting concept, and yeah, just curious. Just fire in the chat for me. This is just my own curiosity right now, but how many of you do, when you sit down to practice, some amount of really focused practice consistently versus, yeah, I picked up and I play the guitar and I kind of just automatically started working on the last thing that I was working on? Curious to know. Shall I play you odd chords while you think? No, nothing. Okay. That's all good. Yeah, it's I'll leave it up to you if that's been something useful and that sort of thing. But Shannon, hey, how's it going? Okay, cool. Like there's a focus to what you're up to. Aurelius, different every day. Okay, nice. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I definitely have been the less structured overall. If anyone else wants to comment, feel free to obviously put something in the chat. And it does it has made me Michael. I do remember your comments, man. Good old Gisborne. I am actually it's not really announced yet, but in January I will be coming to do something in Gisborne. So I know it's a long time away, but I'm actually really excited about what it is, and you'll see a little bit of that festival wise coming out over the next little while. So I'll share that. Yeah, going back to where I was at is it's interesting to me how the consistent focus on a certain topic really improves and has sped up my results, and also allowing things to be a little chaotic along the way. So the focus is still on a specific aspect, but realizing that so long as my focus stays clear and on that aspect, I actually get good results. But it doesn't necessarily have to look like it for the first couple of days, which can be very challenging to let go of. So yeah. Shannon, I'm curious, man. I'm presuming you're a guy. You could be a girl. It's possible. To be honest, I feel like everyone's name now could be. I wouldn't be surprised if I met a David that is a beautiful girl someday, and it's just names and everything has changed. But anyway, I'm curious in terms of you planning out songs. Are you planning that out in terms of like your set list, or in terms of the individual song structure and that sort of thing? So curious. Nice. Yeah, badly want to get something to going to make it work. Deadlines. Nice. I've actually been yeah, nice, Marcus. Different Aussie. Nice. Okay, cool. A lot of country solos. Yeah, I tend to kind of do the same thing. I have a overall focus, and then I jump from other things, which I think is pretty natural. Nice. Yeah, Florian, what you've put there is very very true to what I do as well, and yeah, just of the training things and the repetition, and sometimes it's the very very same thing. Shannon, you're a guy, sweet. Love it. And it's one thing I always found really funny when I would go into different flats at times, because they're like, man, you're a muso, it'd be great. And there's times where that's awesome, and there's times where literally I'm like, okay, I've learnt this new thing, and I want to sing over it at some point, so I'm gonna just play this same riff on repeat for actually hours. And suddenly then everyone else's perspectives don't seem quite so keen on the muso thing. But yeah, it's just a lot of hours at different times focused on things. Michael, thanks. I really appreciate that. It's really cool to have you online, and I am actually looking forward to getting back to Gisborne and playing some tunes. So that will be fun. Cool. Individual song structures. Nice. Oh, awesome. Hang on, I can't read this. Ton Helen build a set list. Love it. It's Michael. It's not. It is. It's not my PS4. I rudely interrupted some beautiful gaming to be able to quickly take over this room and do a little live stream and connect with you all. So, but who knows? I'm gonna jump on there after this and see if I can, have any skills or not. No. Love it. And cool. Shannon, let me know on to help build. Okay, cool. Let me know what your Facebook is, and I'll have a look. I'm curious. Like, because I didn't like my voice. Nice. Yeah. Honestly, it's cool to be able to share with you guys, because it's nice when you have outside perspective. And I just spent the afternoon recording with Shimna, who is the violinist that you've seen in Gypsy Girl, and we're doing some work and promo stuff. But again, today, we had a limited time frame for recording her vocals on a track, and we got a pretty good result. But equally, she was like, man, I haven't sung for ages. It's just not my best day. And I think the cool thing is, she's working on a lot as well, and we all have good days and bad days regardless of how much we've worked on things. And obviously we want to just raise that standard overall. But the cool thing is, when we put out what we're working on today, I know that we're going to get a lot of comments and just being like, hey, this was cool. And that's only built up because I've been willing to put out a bunch of stuff that I'm really uncertain about. And we were just chatting about it. And it is one of those things that there's always an awkward process, I guess. Nice. There's always an awkward process of just letting your music go out there into the world. And I'm constantly surprised, I guess, by some of the times that I think, oh, I don't know if I want to share this or not. But yeah, letting go, I guess, of more and more of my what's the word, like preciousness about how I sound or how I look in any given moment. And to be honest, I wouldn't have been doing this a while back, because I look at the screen even now and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's kind of dark in here, and there's a PlayStation in the background. It's all irrelevant. It's like, you know what? If one of you goes away from this live session like excited about something or inspired, I'm like, awesome. That was totally worthwhile. So that's kind of, to be honest, when I jump on these things, it's like, that's all I see is the people that leave these lives and are just like, dude, thank you. Something you said or something you played or something you did just helped me get through to the next thing that I wanted to work on, or I was stuck with a looping technique. And I love that. It's super, super cool, and it's super rewarding for me. So yeah, appreciate you being here, and trust that that's you this week, leaving this little session and being like, cool. So sweet. I will have a look, Shannon. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything anyone wants to specifically dive into this eve? Obviously, if there is, fire it in the chat. Otherwise, you'll get my weekly ramblings at this point. Having felt a little bit like I'm all over the show, mostly because I have been a little bit all over the show. But is anyone here like on the we haven't chatted about a lot, but the doing music full time or getting gigs and all that sort of stuff. Curious if just maybe put something in the chat if you're typically you're already doing live shows, you're already doing let's say paid gigs or that sort of thing. Love it, Chumley. Man, I keep playing this same little. Little chords. Nice. A Queen medley of 10 songs. That's epic. I'm really curious to see that. So when your finger heals, let me know. Yeah, curious. Is anyone gigging at the moment in terms of maybe not at the moment, but you're wanting to be a full-time muso or head down that path? Curious to chat around that for a little bit, because there's a lot of different paths to music. There's obviously, you can do the covers side of things, you can do the original side of things, you can purely be a songwriter, you can purely be a composer and arranger, whether it's for films or for I was going to say TV, films, the music that is on all the gaming and PlayStations, all that sort of stuff as well. Then all that side of stuff is happening. Cool. Shannon, where are you at the moment in terms of, like, two things? Where you're at the moment in terms of, have you been gigging or not? And secondly, what's the kind of picture that you'd like at this point? Thanks to lockdown. Damn it. Oh, I've had some fun gigs at Brewers. I grew up in Palmerston North, for those of you that don't know. And oddly, I used to do it's a very odd gig. It was a 6-hour gig, which is crazy when I look at it. But we played a bit of music, did a set. We did a musical quiz, which was super fun. And I remember it was in a duo. And I remember ringing Tim every week. It'd be during the day on Thursday before we played. Basically being like, hey man, I've got 12 questions. How many have you got? And be like, oh, I've got 14. And like, okay, cool. Well, we need 4 more. But it was super fun doing a live music quiz, and obviously we'd play things, different questions and things like that. But we also then after the quiz we'd play through till midnight, and it was this epic thing. Tim was working. He had a role as a CEO of a company at that point, and Fridays were definitely tough for him. But it was very good. So cool, Mark. I'll get to that in a mo. I might even connect you with someone on that that's doing that really, really well over here in New Zealand. Cool. Shannon, have you been gigging you've been gigging at Brewers. Cool. Is anywhere else? Was it kind of like just as things pop up? And then to add to that, and for all of you that are online, do you have somewhere that you can, like, if someone said, if I said to you now, basically, hey, love to book you for a gig, can you just send me a quick link to what you sound like or what you do? Are you able to go, absolutely, grab something and send it straight away? Just curious. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Cool. So we'll kind of come back to that as you put something in there. But yeah, obviously what I just said, that's probably one of the best things you can do is, and if you do a Facebook page, that sort of thing, it can be a really easy way to just be like, hey, this is what I sound like. Here's a couple of songs. Here's a rough set list to get an idea of flavor if you want to do the acoustic thing. And I highly recommend, I have been pretty bad at this, but I highly recommend getting a couple of good photos that you can use. And it, again, what we're doing is adding to people's image of us. So it's like, if someone just sees one photo and it's like, can you imagine this if this was my promo photo right now? A pretty dark, it's all fuzzy because there's not enough light for my poor laptop to get a clear image. PlayStation in the background, being like, I've got a guitar, great, let's go. So I think there's a lot of value in learning some of this stuff, and there's some cool stuff we can talk about in terms of lighting and that sort of thing if you're doing things yourself as an indie artist, kind of like I am. But one of those things is just having a couple of good shots that you feel is a good reflection of your brand and image, and maybe at the moment that picture, you get a couple of really good pictures and you're like, man, they look great. I don't really have the video to go with it, but everything sort of builds itself up in levels along the way. And I think aiming to step yourself up to that next level of how you project and show yourself online, so that when people do want to book you, it just becomes an easier thing for them to go, yeah, cool, he looks good, we need someone, let's go with them, maybe rather than the next person. So cool. I'm going to catch up on some questions. Mark, kids songs writing and performing, I don't have experience personally in that area, but I might touch base with you with a Kiwi guy that just is doing great in that side of things. And I think of all, we talked a little bit about songwriting and lyrics and things last week, and I think all those things still apply. There's also obviously just how many songs you're writing and getting through. And then I like testing stuff. I like playing it to people and seeing what happens. And some things just connect and some things don't. I remember going and I wrote, I went over on a writing trip over to Indonesia, and I worked on a bunch of tunes, and I came and I played. There were 3 that I was really happy with from that trip, personally, and I came and played them to a bunch of people, and one just stuck out. And so that's kind of like, okay, cool. That's what I've got. That there's a few versions on YouTube. It hasn't been released as a single, but that's still in the pipeline. But I there's something that getting that feedback and getting out of your own head to share it with other people, I think really helps. But also sometimes you'll just have a feeling that you're like, this has something to it and I need to share it and I need to get in touch and get things recorded and happening. So yeah, I hope that helps, but let's connect after this and I will connect you. Dave, hey man, thanks for your messages. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if you caught the start of this live, but as you'll know, I've been all over the show, and so hence the erratic little replies and chats that we've had. I typically start with loop A, but sometimes I do start with loop B. And when you undo, absolutely, if it's the first recording on either of them, it will, on the Voice Live 3, for those of you that have it, it will completely redo. So it's something I talk about when setting up your Voice Live 3. I don't like having to hold the loop button for 2 seconds, simply because if for some reason you don't hold it for 2 seconds and it's your first take, it completely undoes what you've just created. And sometimes this may be useful for you. Sometimes what I'll do is just to lock in the groove and the loop, I will put something different in, so that, and then overdub. And it means that then I can take the last overdub in or out as I choose. Or just for, if you want for safety, provided you're confident with your first loop, is you can actually do the smallest overdub. There doesn't need to be anything in the overdub. But it just means that you can't undo that entire the entire section that you've worked on, which absolutely is very, very frustrating. So, yeah, Dave, is there a particular song that you're doing with this? Fire it in the chat, and we'll maybe chat about how to put it together. Aussie's going to the dark side. Love it, man. Backing track territory. Chomley. Yeah, I'd love to. There's a lot of things on my radar in terms of working with people, and you'll actually see that through this year. I'm going to be working with more and more people, and connecting them with just some of the real simple kind of processes that just make things work to be a full-time performer. And there are sometimes just some really specific things that need to happen that are not hard. You can all do them with a few little things to create a profile, get bookings, and have people contacting you that just keep coming in, which I'm not really much of a sales guy, to be honest. So I find that a lot easier to have people come to me and contact me than me going out and turning up and chasing bars and doing all that sort of thing. But I mean, both have their place. Cheers, Michael. I'm gonna play a little. Let's see what the voice is doing today. A little tune from that I wrote in Indonesia for you, and feel free to, fire any more questions and bits and pieces in, and yeah, this could be interesting. You can't come around like this any hour. You know I can't resist, no willpower. You got that look upon your smile, what makes it hard to say goodbye. But I can't be your friend when I've already been your lover. Well, I can't kiss those lips, and in time they'll find another. Well, I can't hold you tight and push those fears aside. So it's hard to see you cry, but I can't be your friend, and I can't be your lover. Will you still call me up and talk a while? Can't make myself hang up candy to a child. Your voice sings sweetly in my ear. Somehow I gotta make this clear, that I can't be your friend when I've already been your lover. And I can't kiss those lips. In time they'll find another. Well, I can't hold you tight and push those fears aside. So it's hard to see you cry, but I can't be your friend, and I can't be your lover. I can't be your friend, and I can't be your lover. Yeah, don't know why. I feel like playing that. Cheers, everybody. Good night, Michael. Sweet. Nice. Sweet. Love it. Thanks, everybody. Hey, I appreciate you you jumping on. Who knows why I played that today? It's been appropriate for all my exes. Mike, I used to joke. I haven't played that song for a long time. I used to joke on tour, being like, "Hey, if you're thinking about breaking up with someone but just don't quite have the nerve to do it, then feel free to send there's a version on YouTube. You can just send the song to them, and it should do the trick." Anyway, team, hey, thanks all for being online tonight. I really appreciate it, and I've said it a bunch of times. I really love doing these sessions and racing in to get online and do them. So thanks for tuning up. I hope you got a bunch out of it that you can take away, and I look forward to seeing you somewhere online and chatting. Otherwise, I will catch you next week on one of these live things. Have a great week. See you later.